So if you're a fan of espresso or espresso-based coffee drinks and you want the ultimate convenience, I want you to stay tuned. I just might have something you need to check out. So I'd like to welcome you to my kitchen, and today we're going to be checking out the Nespresso Inissia single-serve espresso maker. I did purchase this espresso maker 5 or 6 years ago. I paid about $85 for it from woot.com. If you look for these today, they are a pretty good deal. You can get them used on eBay for $30 to $40. Some places are selling them brand new for as low as $80 to $85 on eBay. On Amazon, they're currently $109. Now, you can get this as a package deal with a milk frother that will make the cream for you for your coffee beverages. That runs about $170 if you buy that bundle. I don't have that set up because I just drink espresso as it is, just right out of the pod. And speaking of the system, when you buy an Nespresso Inissia espresso maker like the one that you see right here, you're going to be buying into the Nestle Nespresso pod system. Now, these little pods cost between 75 cents and $1 a piece, depending on how many you buy and what variety you get. You can sign up for a club with Nespresso to get these pods sent to you. Shipping on them is $7 for orders under 35 bucks, and right now they're doing free shipping on orders over 35. Now, the pods, you can get them over at Amazon.com, and I noticed that Target started carrying pods that are licensed by different companies, and yeah, they do get a little bit dented, unfortunately, and you can get them locally at like your local Target stores. Otherwise, they were a little bit hard to find about 5 years ago. Let's just go through the dimensions on the machine. What do you need to know? Well, for starters, you've got yourself a 24-ounce water reservoir in the back. And I think one of the reasons why this still runs for me today is because I've been using bottle purified water in it ever since I first bought it. And I've not had to do any kind of descaling or cleaning, and I've run quite a few pods through it. It does come with a 16 pod selection when you first buy it, so you are going to get some espresso coffee to start off. It does consume 1200 watts of electricity while it's running, but it does shut itself off after about 9 minutes. As for the dimensions itself, it is fairly narrow. We're looking at 4.7 inches wide, 9 inches tall, 12.6 inches deep, and it weighs 5.3 pounds. And I think that now these are made by DeLonghi, but I'm not sure who made these back in the day originally when I bought it. It does brew up 2 different sizes of espresso. You have a espresso size espresso, I guess you could say, which is 1.4 ounces or like 1.36 ounces. And it also does the lungo size or lungo size, which is 3.7 ounces. So a couple things you need to know. You've only got 3.5 inches of clearance from the bottom of this drip tray to the bottom of the spout. If you flip up the little drip tray, you do have 5.5 inches of clearance, but you're not going to get like a tall thermos or anything underneath here. And I just want to show you how it basically works, and we're just going to brew up an espresso today just to show you what it looks like, talk about the taste a little bit. And there are a ton of varieties for these espresso pods when you go onto the Nespresso website, and you basically have the name of the espresso in Italian on the top of the pod. And if you want to know a description of it, I pretty much have to make a reference back to the website every time I look it up. When you buy them, you do have the boxes that do describe the coffees. And as you can see, I've got a pretty good variety here. There's different roasts and different intensities in different regions, and it's pretty much the sky's the limit if you want to make one of these. Now, would I buy one now? This model is currently discontinued. I would say yes, just because the pods are still out there. You do want to be careful though, and I would only recommend buying the licensed pods. And the reason why is because this uses a 19 bar high pressure system, and the foil on the Nestle or Nespresso pods can resist the pressure, and it does stay intact, where I've read that cheaper pods, the foil can break up and get sucked into the pressure nozzles or gets clogged in the pressure nozzles and can ruin the machine. So I can only recommend that you buy capsules that are licensed by Nespresso or approved by Nespresso or Nestle to be used in the Nespresso maker. You know, that's kind of a problem that people ran into with Keurig makers too, with pods rupturing and stuff like that. If you guys are a coffee pod person, you know what I'm talking about. So it is a bit of an expensive habit, but it is also cheaper than going to the local coffee shop. Okay, so the brewing process is pretty straightforward. You got your 2 buttons up on the top. You just press one button. Both buttons are going to flash. And I've actually had to film this a couple times because I keep screwing up. So it's already warmed up right now, but this will take about 25 seconds and about 30 seconds to actually brew the cup. You've got a nice metal handle here. It is a very sturdy, it feels like a well-built unit. I'm going to go ahead and just flip up the drip tray here so you can see the espresso as it brews, and we can see what it actually looks like and so on. Now, all you got to do is just go ahead and flip the lever up and go ahead and take your pod and drop it in there. By the way, these pods, they can be recycled. You can request free recycling bags from Nestle. They will send them to you, and I don't think there's any cost on that. Either you get them with your order or you can just request them. You pop your used pods in it, send it back to Nestle, and these will get recycled. I think they're just 100% aluminum. Anyway, but again, it is nice to protect the environment when we can. Go ahead and close it up. And at that point, you're going to choose whatever size you want. The machine's going to be a little noisy. We're just going to let it run a complete cycle so you can see it and suffer through it. We'll go and do an espresso size. And here she goes. So automatically from the start, you can see you've got a nice crema. It's already starting to separate. You've got that nice foam that's coming out of it. It also shows that you've got a nice fresh grind going on. And these pods are airtight, by the way, and they do keep past the expiration date, just so you know. Okay, now that is essentially an espresso size. Now I'd have to look up the specifics on the Roma blend to see what the coffee intensity is. They do tell you if you should use the espresso size or the lungo size. Grab a paper towel here real quick. And it does drip quite a bit too, so keep that in mind after you're done brewing and so on. It will kind of drop off a little bit. So there you go. That is essentially your espresso. Now sometimes I'll cheat. I will just go ahead and eject the pod. And then sometimes I'll just run another cycle of water if I just want a more watered down, basically, cup of coffee if I want something real quick and simple. But it does have great flavor to it. And if you look at that, I mean, that is a nice, basically looks like a standard shot of espresso. It's got a nice crema up on the top. Let's go and take a sip of it real quick. That is really good. And each pod definitely has its own kind of characteristics. I think it's definitely worth buying into, especially if you're a fan of coffee or you just want something kind of stout or strong in the mornings to get you going. So that's what you have on that. All right, so there you have it, the Nespresso Inissia espresso maker. I think it's great. I know they're discontinued, but you can still get the pods. The pods are still readily available. Lots of companies make them. I think I bought a 50 count, if I didn't mention this before, medium and dark roast selection from Amazon. They're actual Nespresso brand pods for 35 bucks delivered, which was a really good deal. And I've been enjoying them, and they're really, really good. So yeah, no, it's hard to beat a good, original espresso maker, and it isn't much more inconvenient to go that route. And again, I also always encourage you to support your local mom and pop coffee shop, your local places. Do that if you can. But these days, in the era of social distancing and pandemics and places that just aren't open, if you're a coffee drinker, you might not have that easy access. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking this out. My review of the Nespresso Inissia espresso maker, basic overview, and Nespresso espresso pod coffee. All right, y'all take care, have fun, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.